I actually feel really, really lucky that this opportunity came up at the timing that it did.
Far post, Henry knocks that across. What a moment for Mason Trafford.
You know, ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a professional soccer player, and I'm able to do that now in Canada. What could be better? My last name is Trafford, so I think when I showed an interest in soccer early on, my parents realized that there was a really famous team, Manchester United, that played at a stadium called Old Trafford, and I just started following Man U because of that. Yeah, my love of the game just sort of blossomed from there, and I was definitely that kid that truly, truly loved the game. I always wanted to be a pro ever since I was like 6 years old, and I dreamt of it. I think I even like wrote a letter when I was like 7 to Manchester United saying, you know, my name's Trafford, and so that sort of gives you a glimpse into how passionate I was about the game. And when I was, 15, 16, I started to think that the path I wanted to take was to keep that dream alive, even though I had dealt with some setbacks and some rejection. But I just figured that I needed some more time to develop physically. I was a small person until I was about 18 years old, and I thought the best way for me to keep the dream alive is to go play NCAA soccer. I just felt it was a better standard than Canadian soccer at that time. So I made a video back then. It wasn't as easy as it was today with the digital everything, and I sent it to hundreds of college coaches in the States, wrote emails to hundreds of coaches in the States. A handful get back to you, and UNLV was one of them, and they were going to offer me a scholarship. Next thing you know, you're in Vegas, and you're in preseason camp as a 17-year-old and playing in the Vegas Sun, and 4 years later it's a degree, and it's a launch pad in a sense. I had an agent of mine reach out to the Whitecaps to ask if I could just come train, because my dream was to go try to play in England or in Europe, so I thought I'll go back in the off season and see if I can just train with the Whitecaps and stay fit. And I think they initially said, no, our team's kind of full, we're not interested. And then I think a player was injured or somebody left kind of abruptly. So they called back and like, oh, you can come train because we might need an extra body. It wasn't a trial for me because I wasn't planning, I wasn't in my mind that I was gonna stay and play for the Whitecaps. So maybe that translates, being very at ease and relaxed, and I played quite well. And after like 3 or 4 sessions, the head coach, Tater Tordarson at the time, pulled me after training and was like, well, have you ever thought about staying? And I was kind of like, what? He's like, yeah, like, we'd like to sign you here. And I went home, I was like living at home, right? I was like, the Whitecaps just like want to sign me to my parents. And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, and there's my start of my career, we won a championship that year, and I played quite a lot the next year, and just towards the end of the season kind of faded in the last couple months. Probably wasn't going to get another contract. Another opportunity arose in the USL2. Up-and-coming coach Anthony Hudson, he wanted me to come play as a center back, which was my natural position. I said, let's do it. Let's get some games under the belt in that position. And then from there, played every game, went to Finland, and then you're in the system, right? You're in the system. People find out about you. The national team called. That helped with getting a move to China because it looks good on the CV to have played for your country. China was a huge adventure. That was a crazy experience, a fun experience. Mark Dos Santos and I started chatting. Him and Martin Nash brought me to Ottawa, which was, again, I've been very lucky to work with some fantastic coaches and some fantastic leaders. A couple of good seasons there.
As it comes loose, Wiedemann, right-footed shot off the post, and they put in the rebound!
And then, Alessandro Nesta and Miami FC call. And that was, again, one of those moments like what? Alessandro Nesta, watched me and wants me to come play for him. That's insane. He's the greatest of all time. 3 years down in Miami, and then Tommy Wheeldon called. And here we are in Calgary, and it was the best decision ever.
Taking 0 chances. Trafford. What a moment that would have been.
My job is to create a platform for our creative players to go and win us soccer games. And my job, along with the other back 4, is to keep balls out of the net. Every now and then, you want to make a big play or you want to contribute with something offensively, but like any good organization, you have to know what your role is and do that very, very well. I want to keep winning. I have the same passion I had when I was 20. I feel a little bit sour. I can't help it. We won over 28 and then we lost over 2, and it seems like that's all anybody cares about. So there's a bit of a fire That from that, and just because I want to win, and I feel invested in what's being built here, from the owners to our president to our staff, I feel that the investment they've made in us, we owe them, and there is a platform here for us to go on and do something special. And I want to give back, and I want to lay it all out there for these people and for the city.